Hi, if you're just jumping on, I'm Lysandra Everett, and today it's Tax Tuesday. It is Tax Tuesday. Every Tuesday, I'm going to be sharing more tax information. It is my mission to educate our community about taxes so we can stay out of trouble with the IRS. And I'll share the motivation for today's topic. And so, share this out, share this with someone that may be a home business owner who considering starting a home business, or who may be an independent contractor getting paid with a 1099. They definitely need to know this stuff. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to go here to my screen. Okay, so let's start with, because I kind of like to do this stuff on the fly. Not completely on the fly, but you know what I mean. More spontaneous and everything. So if you have any questions, type them in the comments and I will definitely get to them. And if I need to shoot another video or something, I'll definitely do that. Okay, so the first question is, who needs to file a Schedule C? Okay, so if you are a home business owner, or if you are an independent contractor. Independent contractor is someone who gets paid on a 1099. So you can have affiliate marketers online get paid with a 1099. There are some jobs such as what did I see? I saw the contractors, labor type contractors. In the construction arena, like building houses, some of those got paid on a 1099. Carpet, plumbing, those types of professions. But it doesn't have to be that. These are just things that I see that get paid on a 1099. All right, these are the type of people that have to file a Schedule C. Now, the minimum income is $400. So if you make more than $400 in whatever you're doing, then you have to file a Schedule C. You might not have to pay income taxes, but the self-employment tax starts at $400. Okay, so nuts and bolts is $400. You got to file a Schedule C. Now, here's the other thing. If you are running a business, you have to be in profit 3 out of 5 years. 3 of 5 years. Meaning you have to show where you have earned a profit. It doesn't have to be a grand profit, but it's got to be a profit. And it doesn't have to be 3 consecutive years, just 3 out of the 5 years, okay? So you need to be in profit 3 out of 5 years to be considered a business. Considered a business. Otherwise, it is a hobby and you don't get to take certain deductions. Okay, so minimum $400 and you need to be in profit 3 out of the 5 years. So those are the things that you need to think about when you are in a home business. Okay, because what a lot of home business owners have tried to do is they've really tried to show a loss in their home business in order to offset their tax liability from their income tax from their W-2 job. But the IRS is saying, okay, your first year, and they expect you to be at a loss. Your first 2 years or so, the IRS really expects you to be at a loss because it's a new business. But if you are continuing to show a loss, then the IRS is saying, okay, how are you staying in business? And let me give you an example of what happened. I had a client come in, and unfortunately, he was the victim of an unscrupulous tax preparer. And I really feel bad saying that, because as a tax preparer, you're a trusted individual. People trust you with their finances. So that's what really bothers me. But anyway, with this man, he gets a letter from the IRS asking for proof. of what he was showing. And unfortunately, this poor person, which is, some of this is his own doing because he did not keep track of anything. And I'm going to talk about one of the things that you need to, the basic things that you need to track. But he did not keep track of anything. And he did not know what this tax preparer was putting on his taxes, was reporting for him. So he gets a letter from the IRS asking for proof, for documentation of what he was reporting. Well, he couldn't do that. And what had happened is this tax preparer has showed him with these huge losses with a little bit of income. So he wound up getting tax refunds that he did not deserve. Now, what happens with that, and this is why you have to know, ignorance is not a defense with the IRS. This is why you have to know what is going on with your business, even though you may not know how to do this yourself, but you got to really understand what is being reported. So even though this tax preparer did this foolishness, he was not aware, but he's still going to have to rectify the wrong, meaning that he got a refund. And if the taxes had been done properly, he actually owed. So he's going to have to pay back that refund, pay back and pay what he owed, what he owes originally. Then there are going to be penalties and interest on what he owed originally. So this is why you've got to know what is here and what is being reported, so that so that everything is being done properly. And if you get an unscrupulous tax preparer, you can report them and you can also sue them. Okay, so you definitely just have to be aware of what's going on and knowing that ignorance is not a defense. Okay, so getting in tax trouble, that's just some trouble you just don't want to be in. Okay. So let's look at the things that you need to track. Things you need to track. All right. 1, income. 2, expenses. 3, mileage. These are 3 basic things that you must track. There's lots of other things, but these are the main things, okay? Because this is where people get into trouble. And understand something. Home business owners are more likely to get audited than anyone else. And the reason is there are excellent tax deductions pertaining to a home business. But the problem is there is so much fraud going on with a home business that this is why we're more than likely to get audited. But as long as you have documentation to prove what you have filed with your taxes, you're fine. But you gotta have the documentation, and that's what's so important. Okay, so let's look at, excuse me. Let me move my, sorry about that. Let's go to the Schedule C. So I have a Schedule C up here. This is what the Schedule C looks like, okay? You've got who you are, the business, if you have a business name, and, the accounting method. Listen, more than likely you're on the cash method, but there's different types. Okay, so right here is gross receipts and sales. Gross receipts and sales. This is all of the money that you brought in. It doesn't talk about what your expenses were yet. This is the amount of money that you brought in gross. Okay. So that's what this is. And then cost of goods sold, we'll get to that. So anywho, this is your profit, your gross profit. So cost of goods sold, let me scroll down to that really quick. I might need to just go to the next page. Okay, so the cost of goods sold. If you have an inventory, so a lot of home businesses such as a Mary Kay or a Scentsy or a Pampered Chef, you may have inventory. All right, you have product on the shelf. You need to know your beginning inventory at the beginning of the year and your ending inventory. See, inventory at the beginning of the year. Now, if you use stuff for personal use, you need to know how much that is. So if you spend if you use $1,000 worth of products a year, this is what you need to keep track of. Listen, you can just write this stuff down. All right. Cost of labor. If you've got somebody working for you, any materials and supplies. Then we get to the inventory amount at the end of the year. This is the so you've got what you had at the beginning of the year, what you've used, and where you are at the end of the year, December 31st. Okay, so that comes down to your costs of goods sold. Okay, now going back up here to page 1, I know this is a lot of technical information, but again, I just want you to have a general idea. All right, so you've got your gross receipts, which is the amount of money that you brought in, the cost of what your inventory was, and then that's going to give you your gross income. And then we get to the expense part. Okay, so if you if you market online, if you buy business cards, if you buy traffic online, if you pay for flyers or anything, that's what your advertising is. So these give you all the things that you can deduct. I'm just going to go over the major things for home business owners. Okay. Now, commissions and fees. So for instance, if you so what I do, I sell on eBay, okay? And I sell on eBay and Amazon, and there's fees associated with that, and that is tax deductible. If you have to pay commission to someone else, I saw where there was a guy that was a mover that he uses an online service, and for every time he gets hired, he has to pay a commission, okay? That's what this is. You keep track of that as well. Legal and professional services. If you have to hire an attorney for something, that's what this is. Office expense. Let's talk about that. If you are using a home office, okay, you need to know the overall square footage of your home and also the square footage of the room, and really help yourself and take a picture of the room. Now listen, it doesn't matter how big or how small. Okay, well, it does matter how big. I can't think of the limit right off the top of my head right now, but it's I forgot what the limit is for how big. But if you have a designated space at which you conduct your business, then that is deductible. So even if it's 2 square feet, it's deductible. Okay, but you have to know the overall square footage of your home and the square footage of your office space. Okay, and so that's going to determine the amount that you can deduct for expenses in your home office. Okay, now let me talk about, okay, so we got meals and entertainment. I'll talk more about that stuff later. That's really more if you're traveling. So a lot of businesses, we have events every year. Okay, going to events is great, but you definitely need to keep track of those expenses. So your travel is how you're going to get there. So if you got to fly, drive, whatever, and then your meals while you're there, and deductible meals and entertainment if you are meeting a client for lunch. Okay, if you take your client out to lunch, let's say to get referrals, then those meals are deductible. Okay, And let's see, wages if you had to pay someone to work for you. Okay, so these are your basic expenses. Most home business owners are going to have advertising, an office expense. If you've got any supplies, if you've got to buy paper, pens, that kind of thing, you're going to have travel, meals and entertainment, and perhaps legal services, maybe. But those are the basic ones that you're going to have. Now, let's talk about car and truck expenses for a moment. You can do one of two things. You can deduct actual expenses or mileage. One of the two, not both. Okay? So if you have a vehicle specifically for business use, okay, then you're probably going to deduct actual expenses. If you are using your personal vehicle for for just like we are, okay? If you're in a home business, you are you're conducting business in your personal vehicle. Mileage is probably the easiest thing to do, okay? Because your expenses, your actual expenses, you're looking at gas, oil changes, and repairs, that kind of thing. Mileage is, where you're going from point A to point B as it relates to your business, okay? So that's what this is. So you got your income versus expenses, and then that's going to give you your net profit or loss. That's it. Okay, so this is just the basics of the Schedule C, and this is page 2. Okay, here's the other thing about the vehicle. I'm so glad I clicked on this and didn't forget. All right, so when you start your business, you need to know the date, month, day, year. So if you place your vehicle in service for your business January 1, 2013, that's what it needs to be. If it was March 20th, 2015, that's what it needs to be. All right. And so then you got to know the total number of miles. So when you place your vehicle in business, you need to write down your beginning mileage, and then what mileage is for business and for commuting, and then ask you, was it available for personal use, off-duty hours? Answer these questions honestly. Yes or no. Did your spouse have another vehicle? Yes or no. Do you have evidence to support your deduction? If the answer better be yes, okay? And is the evidence written? It needs to be yes. You need to write this stuff down. And listen, one of the things I do, just to show you how easy this is, usually wherever I go, there's a receipt for something, even if I just go to the post office, but I'm writing, I have a receipt, so I know where I went, what I went for, and I just write it on there. That's what I do. And it makes it easy. And I have a folder specifically for receipts. So when I go back and reconcile, I know where I went. And and when, the day I went there and how long it is from my house to there. Okay. So that's the basics of the Schedule C. Now, why is this important? Okay. Again, it's important because we want to stay out of tax trouble. All right. Why is this important? 1, stay out of tax trouble. Okay, so that is the main reason why this is important. Because again, if you can, listen, you can be fined, and depending on how bad it is, this is something that can land you in jail. We had not someone I know personally, but during the tax season, it hit the tax airwaves that there was a couple that was in Texas that wound up going to jail for filing fraudulent Schedule Cs. And what they were doing is for customers that wound up having to owe the IRS, instead of them just owing the IRS, they created this fraudulent Schedule C. So saying that they had a business that they really did not own, and it reduced that tax liability, and in some cases people even got refunds. Well, while that sounds really good in the beginning, what happened is those people started to get audited, they did not have proof of what they filed on their taxes. And then it came out, oh, well, they did this. Well, too many of they, being the tax preparer, did this. You know, guys, this sends up a red flag to the IRS, okay? Just because you think it's little old you, please believe me, they will find you, okay? I know that current law says that the IRS can only go back 3 years and audit you. Okay, well, that sounds all well and good. However, during that 3 years, if you're found to be in the wrong, again, if you owe, all those the penalties and interest are gonna rack up, and that is just not, that's just not what you want. It just really isn't what you want. So that's why I want to show you this to help you really understand. And I'm going to put up a tax organizer in my membership site at a betteryouprint.com. I put up a tax organizer because now you can take that and start to really, now's the time to put this together, okay? It is July. There really isn't a lot going on, where you've got kids in school and all this stuff. So now you've really got time to get this organized now. So if you need to go back and clean some stuff up, you've got time to do that now. So come tax time, you are not scrambling trying to find out what's going on, and you are not at the mercy of some tax preparer. And again, you can do this yourself, okay? I prepare taxes, but hey, I'm here to tell you that you can really do this yourself. The only thing that you need to do is have documentation. So, okay, what's the other, why is this important? So you can be organized. I'm gonna tell you, I popped my tax collar last year, earlier this year when I went to go get my taxes done. And my tax preparer, she said to me, she's like, I just love to see you. My CPA, she said, I just love to see you because you have all of your stuff just all nice and neat, and I just need to go plug in numbers. But yeah, I really enjoy that being organized because I like to know. And so I can go back and look at what she's done and say, okay, I recognize this number, and this number, and this number. And you might ask, well, why, if you're a tax preparer, do you go get someone else to do your taxes? Well, because I don't like to have any I don't even want the air of anything funky going on. So I prefer to have someone else do my taxes. I know what they're doing, but I just like, okay, so here we go. We got somebody that's not emotionally involved with my money that is doing my taxes, okay? And so she can ask questions that I might not think of. So that's just me personally, but you can totally do this on your own, okay? And listen, if you can, I would always recommend that you actually go take a tax class. No, it's not that you necessarily want to prepare taxes, but this is an excellent education on the things that you can claim and just knowing how this stuff works, okay? It really is, because again, how many times have you heard about stars, celebrities who have gotten in trouble with the IRS because of tax evasion, and the first thing they say is, well, I didn't know my taxes were not filed, or I didn't know that my CPA lied on my taxes. I did not know is not a defense with the IRS. And even if you truly and honestly didn't know, you still gotta fix it. You still gotta fix it. So if you gotta pay money, if you gotta give money back, dude, you're the one that's gotta do it, okay? So that is it. Let me see if I've got any questions. Let me look. Oops, pushed the wrong button. That is it. Let me see if I've got any questions. All right. That's what happens when you got too many too many mobile devices going on, and I'm short one actually. Grab my tablet. Okay, so it doesn't look like I have any questions right now, which is okay. But if you think of anything, if you have any questions about anything, shoot me a message in my inbox. I'm happy to help you as much as I can. And and really for you to be prepared, because nuts and bolts is the more organized you are, the easier it's going to be for your taxes to be done. And the more you track, again, these are the major things here. Usually advertising dollars and all that, those things are pretty much easier to find because you know exactly how much you're spending on that. But the income and the expenses, you definitely need to keep track of those things. And we'll talk more about financial organization for your business. I think we'll do that next week. That might be a good topic for next week. But this is it for the Schedule C. Okay. So if you have any questions, like I said, shoot me a message. Check back within the next day or so to my website. It's my membership site, wbetteryouprint.com. And get a tax organizer. Get the tax organizer there, because that's what's going to help you be able to begin to focus and organize your get organized for your taxes. Okay, so that's it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in, and like I said, share this with a home-based business owner or an independent contractor. Okay, so they can really take you can have the benefit of the Schedule C and all the tax deductions there, the tax breaks, but you just got to have the documentation and don't miss out on what you are entitled to in accordance with the Schedule C. Okay, so I really hope this helps you out, and I will see you all tomorrow. Oh yeah, I'm here Monday through Friday, usually about 9 o'clock, but it's summer and sometimes it's 9 o'clock